Hello and welcome to this video of Study the Bible with me. My name's Michael and Sharon is hiding behind the camera there someplace.
Hey everybody, I am behind the camera and welcome to our video.
All right. Well, today I'd like to talk about some mail. Actually, let me give you a little background. Sharon watches a YouTuber called Southern Country Living with Calvin and Marie. And Calvin was a big help. He gave me a lot of advice when I was getting ready to start these. And I appreciate that help. And he also sent some of his viewers over, and we're very glad of that. Very thankful. But what intrigued me about his YouTube was I liked the segment where he got cards and letters and he would read them. I told Sharon, I said, I bet he's got a pretty good stamp collection if he's into stamp collecting. But I want to talk to you about a letter today. Now, I get letters, but they're bills. Bet you get the same kind.
I don't like those kind of letters.
No, I actually write letters by hand with pen and paper when I have the time. But there is a letter mentioned in the Bible that should have never been written.
Really?
Mm-hmm. It's quite a message. It's not one you hear preached very often, but it's quite a story. And it's actually in two places. I'm going to be reading from 2 Kings 19. I'm going to cut through a few verses. It's a long chapter, and it's a great story. You need to go back and read the whole thing. But let me read the highlights. 2 Kings chapter 19, starting at verses 10 and 13. Thus shall you speak to Hezekiah, king of Judah. Now, this is the Assyrian king speaking, saying, Let not thy God, in whom thou trustest, deceive thee, saying, Jerusalem shall not be delivered into the hand of the king of Assyria. Behold, thou hast heard what the kings of Assyria have done to all lands by destroying them utterly. And shalt thou be delivered? Have the gods of the nations delivered them, which my fathers have destroyed, as Gozan and Haran and Rezpha, and the children of Eden, which were in Thelasar? Where is the king of Hamath, and the king of Arpad, and the king of the city of, a big word, Sepharvaim, of Hena and Ava? Now this was the king of Assyria. He decided to sit down and write out a letter saying, I'm coming to get you. I'm going to take you. I'm going to take your country. I'm going to take your people. I'm going to take your stuff. And there's not a thing you can do about it. Because have not I and my forefathers before me gone and conquered all these other lands and taken their stuff? So get ready. I'm coming. Okay, we go down to verse 14. By the way, that's my paraphrase. I'm not using a new translation. Verse 14, and Hezekiah received the letter of the hand of the messengers and read it. And Hezekiah went up into the house of the Lord and spread it before the Lord. Now that's the whole key on which this story hinges. Hezekiah received this letter from the king of Assyria saying, I'm coming to get you and all your stuff too. So Hezekiah read it, and what did he do? He didn't go off into a corner and cry. He didn't wring his hands. He read it, and then he goes to the temple, to the house of the Lord. Now verses 15 through 19 say, and Hezekiah prayed before the Lord and said, O Lord God of Israel, which dwelleth between the cherubims, thou art the God, even thou alone, of all the kingdoms of the earth. Thou hast made heaven and earth. So first he recognizes God's superiority and highest place in heaven. Lord, bow down thine ear and hear. Lord, open thine eyes and see. And hear the words of Sennacherib, which have sent him to reproach the living God. Of a truth, Lord, the kings of Assyria have destroyed the nations and their lands, and have cast their gods into the fire. For they were no gods, but the work of men's hands, wood and stone. Therefore they have destroyed them. Now therefore, O Lord our God, I beseech thee, save thou us out of his hand, that all the kingdoms of the earth may know that thou art the Lord God, even thou only. Now I know you're hearing some noise in the background. Cubby has found one of his toys and has decided to play. So we'll just have to excuse him. But it's very interesting to note here. First, Hezekiah says, God, you are the highest God. You have the highest place in the universe. And then he goes on to say, it's true, Lord. They have done all this wicked stuff. They have conquered other countries. And they have taken their idols and their gods and thrown them in the fire and burned them up because they're useless. They're just works of men's hands. And then he says, but now, Lord, I beseech thee. This is a very strong word. It means I'm begging from my heart and from my soul. Save thou us out of his hand. Why? That all the nations of the earth may know that thou art the Lord God, even thou only. It's very important when you pray to recognize, first of all, that God's place is above your problem. And then you can tell him about the letters you got. You can say, this is it, Lord. They're coming to take it. They're coming to get all this stuff. And then you ask God, say, I'm deeply beseeching you from my soul, God, do this, not for my sake. Hezekiah didn't ask for it to glorify himself or to leave his place in history. He said, so that the world may know that you and you alone are God. Now let's go down to verse 32. Well, I should tell you that Isaiah, the prophet, was in the temple, and Hezekiah took the scroll, he laid it out before the Lord, he gave God his petition, and Isaiah was there. And when he was done, Isaiah told him, thus saith the Lord concerning the king of Assyria, he shall not come into this city, nor shoot an arrow there, nor come before it with shield, nor cast a bank around it. Well, what he means is an embankment. He won't even build an embankment around the city. By the way that he came, by the same shall he return, and shall not come into this city, saith the Lord. Isaiah had this message from God. He felt prompted, and he gave it to the king, Hezekiah. Verse 34, for I will defend this city to save it for my own sake and for my servant David's sake. God gives a wonderful promise. Now, here we come to the best part of all. And it came to pass that night. So God often moves in the night. If God can move during the day, but you could see some of the miraculous workings. God works at night so that you can't see what he's up to. A good example of that was the Passover held at night when the Hebrews were in Egypt. God moved through the night. God's there in the night, and that's a word that you need to hear. If you're in a night spiritually, God is there, and he's got the answer.
That goes back to one of my favorite prayers. Now I lay me down to sleep. I pray the Lord my soul. It's a precious little prayer.
It is, yes. If I should die before I wake, I pray the Lord my soul to take. Well, this king, Sennacherib, did not say that prayer, but wait till you hear what did happen. And it came to pass that night that the angel of the Lord went out and smote in the camp of the Assyrians 185,000. Now in English, that means 185,000.
Wow.
And when they arose early in the morning, behold, they were all dead corpses. Now that's kind of like, reminds me of what my family would say. Yeah, he woke up dead the next day. Well, how do you ever wake up dead?
Yeah, you're not waking up.
But that's what happened. The Lord went through the camp, and 185 soldiers died before the dawn broke, before they could put on the first piece of armor before they could take the first step towards wiping out Jerusalem. Now, this story is also in 2 Chronicles chapter 32, verse 21. Now, I do need to tell you, Samuel, 1st, 2nd Samuel, 1st, 2nd Kings, 1st, 2nd Chronicles are all history books about the history of Israel. And they tell the same stories from different angles.
Different perspectives.
Different perspectives.
Right.
So now we're going to 2nd Chronicles chapter 32 and verse 21. And the Lord sent an angel which cut off all the mighty men of valor, and the leaders and captains in the camp of the king of Assyria. So he, the king, Sennacherib, he returned with shame of face to his own land. And when he was come into the house of his God, they that came forth of his own bowels, meaning his sons, he had two sons that accompanying him here, they slew him there with the sword. So that was the end of Sennacherib. He wrote a letter, and as Charles Spurgeon said, when you take time to write a letter, it is a deliberate thought. Sennacherib deliberately thought he'd come and wipe out his kingdom of Judah, take away everything, take the captive, take all the spoil. He wrote that letter. Hezekiah took that letter to God. God said, I've got this.
Yeah. You know, Michael, people may not know what spoil. What is spoil?
Spoils was all the gold, all the silver, anything of use that they could find.
That don't sound like spoil to me. That sounds like
Plunder.
yeah.
Verily, verily, thou must speaketh old English. Okay, he came to get the spoils. He ended up going home alone, in shame, and his two sons killed him at the altar of his own God.
Ooh.
So even his own God couldn't save him. All his bragging rights meant nothing. All right, I hope you've gotten something from that. And again, I'd say go read 2 Kings chapter 19. It's a very interesting story.
That was very interesting, Michael. Thank you for that. And I'd like to ask you out there in YouTube land and TikTok land, please leave us a comment. Let us know where you're from. Let us know how you like the video.
Mm-hmm. And thank you to all the subscribers and all the ones that share. That means a lot to us.
It does.
So we will see you next time.
See you next time, friends. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.
Goodbye.